Hello everyone, it's the Hollister. Now, step one, take cap off of eyeliner. And we're going to, okay, this gets a little difficult, so you just want to make sure that you extend the wing all the way to the outer corner of your eye. There we go. Pronto. Wait a minute, let me get this thing out of here. Woo! Oops. Did you honestly think I was going to give you a tutorial about how to apply liquid eyeliner? I really don't think I'd actually be qualified. I would be stabbing my eyes the entire time. And speaking of that, did you take a stab at the question I asked you at the end of my previous video? I asked you at the end of the video what you thought I had perhaps too much of in my adolescence that may have contributed to my eating disorder. And the answer, given the way I worded it, I guarantee you it's actually not what you think. So, it's actually something that gives you paper cuts. That's very vague, I know. But the answer is, dun dun dun, magazines. Woo! Magazines, magazines. Okay, just to give you a bit of background, from a very early age, since I was about knee-high, my parents noticed that I loved to write and I loved the print medium. What I used to do was I used to write hypothetical newspapers, and I also used to write magazines, and I used to do all my own illustrations in those magazines too. I would take a stack of lined paper, I would staple the pages together, and I would get out my colorful markers and I would write text. And because I grew up on a farm with cattle, the subjects in my magazines actually weren't people, they were cows. So that was a lot of fun. And my parents really noticed that I loved to do that. So of course my mom especially supported my interest in buying magazines and my interest in print medium. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, why do I have some of these now? Number one, I will admit, I do still like to buy teen magazines, because I mean, come on ladies, let's admit. Which one of us does not honestly have any 17s anymore? I mean, I know it's good to purge magazines when the content gets old, but like, I buy them, it depends who's on the cover. Number one thing, it depends who's on the cover. As you can see, Lily Collins is on the cover. I've heard absolutely nothing but positive media about Lily Collins. But not only that, but I also do like to monitor the content in the magazines. 17 is starting to get on the bandwagon, rather, of thinking about how the images of the models they use in their magazines, as well as their magazine content, they're thinking about how that might be impacting audiences. And they actually do have something called a body peace treaty I was reading about in this issue from last year. So they do have a body peace treaty that you can actually sign up at 17.com/bodypeace. And basically that treaty is to recognize that we are humans and we're not supposed to put our bodies first, alright? It's about being your best self, your happiest, your healthiest self. What your body looks like, what your skin color is, does not matter and does not contribute to who you are as a person and how you become successful. It's what you do as a person and the meaningful ways that you contribute to your society that make you a better person. So that is one reason why I still like to look at magazines, is to monitor their content. They are getting better, but I still do have some criticism. This magazine from the UK, called Company, and you can get it at Chapters, by the way. There's a few copies that they have every month. Just save one for me, please. I've noticed that in this magazine, I have to criticize a lot of the ads that they use. Okay, I'll use the back ad for one thing. Okay, it's Rosie Huntington Whiteley, and it's a perfume called Just. But as you can see, take a closer look. If you're reading that font from a distance, it looks like lust. So it's very sexually suggestive. I'm really not impressed with a lot of the ads that are in this magazine. Here's another one I'll quickly show you. This is a perfume called Jupe. Real men wear pink, apparently. And again, very sexually suggestive. I'm really not too impressed. Because again, it's degrading women, and it's even degrading men, saying that they're, they have to show their masculinity all the time, and especially in sexual connotations. Now, let's not forget the real reason why magazines exist. Okay. They are a vehicle and an avenue for advertisers to reach audiences regarding their products. Bing, bang, boom. That's it. That's all. That's the only reason why they exist. Because without the advertising revenue, magazines would not thrive. And you know what? When you really boil a magazine down to its basic parts, there's really not much substance. You'll get like one article with a little bit of text and a bunch of pictures, and then of course there's two ads that are flanking this article. So really, when you boil the magazine down to its substance, there really wouldn't be much to it. But I still like to read them and see what's going on with teen magazines these days. Now, I told you that I had too many as a teenager growing up. I really do believe that that is the case. Let me tell you why. The images that are in magazines, they're meant to make you feel inadequate. If you do not have a good filter, those magazine ads will affect you over time. You have to have a positive filter. You have to recognize them for what they are. They are deliberately meant to make you feel inadequate so that you buy their clothes, their perfume, their jewelry, or their makeup to feel a certain way. They're really selling the idea of inadequacy. And yes, that can be very, very detrimental, especially to adolescent women. And I frankly don't agree with it, but you have to remember that when you're reading these magazines, to keep that in mind. It is not what you think. You do not, absolutely do not, have to buy what they're selling to you to make yourself feel better, because I guarantee you it won't work. Okay? I can prove to you. I have fairly nice clothes, I have makeup, I have jewelry, and trust me, it does not make who you are. It does not make you any better of a person than who you are on the inside. So again, I'm really emphasizing that you have to be your best self. That is the goal here. Yeah, I really don't have much else to say about magazines. That's my criticism about them. And the problem is, I used to buy them as a teenager because I loved them. I devoured them. And even the ones I didn't like anymore, I would go through and make collages out of the pictures that were in them. But the thing you have to remember is that all the images you see over time are going to compound in your mind. You have to think of your brain like a memory paging file on a computer. The more images you see, the more they're just going to stockpile in the back of your mind here, and you're never going to forget them. Your mind never subconsciously forgets those images that you see. Our brains store thousands of images, maybe even millions. And I can understand why that might trigger a feeling of dissatisfaction with oneself. And that's where you really have to step in and create your own personal filter. And I think, honestly, parents should be more involved in what their kids are consuming across all mediums, of course. So that is my opinion about magazines. I'm calling this video Mags versus Rags. So let me know what you think. Do you think magazines are fairly valid and have a place in society with the content that they contain, or do you think they're just rags? Like, for example, teen magazines, you could argue, are just the junk food of the magazine world. But don't worry, rest assured, I do still read magazines such as Maclean's, Time, and National Geographic, and Bloomberg Business. So I really balance out the less substantial content with the more intellectual stimulating content, for sure. So let me know what you think. Mags or rags? Do any of you read them? Do any of you buy teen magazines still, just to monitor what's going on with them? Yeah, let me know for sure. And I'm just going to close with this message. Ladies, I just have to find the example here of the model. Just because you read a magazine, hang on, I can't find it, of course. 1 second. For example, you absolutely, oh, 1 second. See that tall, lithe lady? You absolutely do not have to look like that. Don't ever think you have to look like what is in the magazines, because there are a lot of stylists and consultants that go into the production of a magazine to make the models look that way. You absolutely do not have to prescribe to that image. Don't think you do. You have to be your best self. Thank you very much, guys. And my next episode, I'll give you another clue as to what it'll be about. A beautiful, iconic woman that was born in the 1920s. Hungarian-born photographer André de Dienis looked at her hand and said, "I see an M on your hand." So I'm going to talk about her and some of the things that or the misconceptions surrounding her even. That'll be in my next episode. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this. I can honestly say I really need more of your ideas for content, because I am very much committed to talking about ideas that are slightly controversial and need to be talked about, need to be brought to the forefront. So let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, everybody.